So the case I'm going to be talking about today is Arrington versus NCAA and NCAA football as a whole. The complaint was filed in the United States District Court in the Northern District of Illinois, Eastern Division, on November 21st, 2011. So what happened in this case was Arrington is filing a complaint against the NCAA and NCAA football for their policies towards concussion protocol and basically treating people that have concussions. Adrian Arrington, a former football student athlete at Eastern Illinois University, filed a suit against the NCAA and NCAA football, challenging the NCAA policies related to concussion and concussion-related maladies. Arrington claims the NCAA has failed student athletes, choosing instead to sacrifice them on an altar for money and profits, and basically putting student athletes out there instead of taking care of them. They'd rather them rush back to play and potentially get hurt, but they're still making money anyway, so it doesn't really bother them. Arrington's points, he pointed out the NCAA failure to correct or address the tackling methods taught by coaches throughout the college football that led to head injuries. And he further claims that the NCAA has failed to implement a system-wide return to play guidance and for student athletes who have sustained concussions. Also, according to Arrington, the NCAA has turned a blind eye to student athletes being coached and being taught the proper ways to tackle. The tackling method is off. During his time of being a college football player, he was taught to use his helmet to block, tackle, butt, spear, ram, and or to injure opposing teams by hitting them with the helmet, which causes head injuries and can lead to head injuries, and that could be long-term head injuries. Arrington also claims that the NCAA has had knowledge on the damage caused by these practices and actually partially funded the University of North Carolina Chapel Hill UNC studies that concluded the NCAA football players, are required an average of 5 to 7 days after a concussion for the cognitive functioning to return to normal. Indeed, another UNC study, also partially funded by the NCAA, found that the NCAA football players who had a history of concussions are at an increased risk of sustaining additional future concussions. As stated by Arrington, despite having knowledge of the risk exhibited by the UNC studies in 2003, the NCAA failed to implement legislations requiring its members, schools, to have a concussion management plan until 2010. So that means they have knowledge of the from the UNC study, and they're still not doing nothing about it. They have all the information they need, the NCAA, to prevent these injuries and long-term injuries after these athletes are done playing college football. Years later, a settlement was settled between Arrington and NCAA, and in the settlement, it included a $75 million total, but $70 million for concussion testing and diagnostics for NCAA students who participated until July 15th of 2016. The NCAA also committed an additional $5 million to research, in addition to the testing and diagnostics funding. A number of return to play guidelines, several of which were adopted by the NCAA in 2014, as addressed in the settlement, also included baseline concussion testing, return to play clearance requirements, presence and availability of trained medical professionals at the games and practices. So they're always courtside, watching over everything, and concussion reporting structure. And that was the settlement from Arrington's initial complaint, so that the NCAA can watch over their players and take care of their players, not just while they're playing and benefiting the NCAA and bringing in money, but also when they're done playing. So, because not everybody can go professional. But after their careers are done, they don't have long-term effects and head trauma.